And I do feel horrible making this video about him, but I am just doing it because I said that I would, and also because I know you guys like to listen to these stories about my life. So I'm actually back making a video. I haven't done a sit down video for, I don't know, since before I went to Barcelona, and that was in May, and then everything else you've seen since then has been pre-filmed, and I'm really sorry, I'm like the worst YouTuber ever. I shouldn't say that, but if you've just tuned in and this is the first time you've watched one of my videos, please subscribe, please follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be in the description bar below. And today I'm going to tell another story about my life. This story is about a stalker. I say it's a slight play on exaggeration when I say stalker, but it wasn't. It was kind of like my version, the Trisha 60 version of like a holiday stalker. So I went on holiday to Sri Lanka with my family. I remember being 26 at the time because it was the World Cup, not the one that had just gone, but the World Cup before that. Where we went in Sri Lanka, there wasn't really much around our hotel. There wasn't really a lot to do around the hotel area, but luckily the World Cup was going on at the same time. So we were in our hotel and they had like a massive screen downstairs in the bar, and they had a really nice bar. They made us like cocktails and stuff. So we decided to sit there and watch the World Cup on this massive screen. It wasn't a huge hotel and it wasn't like completely full. Like there was a group of guys there, obviously from the UK as well. We kind of saw them quite frequently the first couple of days because every time there was a match on, like they were in the bar watching and we were in the bar watching. And I would have to say they were probably in their late 30s. I'm going to guess kind of late 30s. And we were in this bar watching the game, and they just happened to be sitting on the table next to us, and there was 3 of them. Obviously they were cheering when we were cheering, so we realised that they were like from the UK, and my dad like just talks to everybody, so my dad just randomly started talking to these people. I didn't really pay much attention because I was sat on the other side of the table. I couldn't really hear the conversation that was going on. My family were just talking to these people, and me and my sister were just kind of watching the football. But my dad, like I said, my mum and dad talk to everybody, so they make lots of friends on holiday. They make friends with these random people that they never speak to again afterwards. The next day, they were on the poolside next to us. As a family again, we got into the pool, we were lying on our lilos, we were just being really stupid in the pool with our snorkels and just weird family Patel stuff that we do. And they got into the pool with us. And again, there was no one else in the pool. It was like just us and them. And they started talking to us. And obviously in that situation, you're kind of swimming around and there's someone like just following you. I had to make a bit of conversation, and they would like, me and my dad were talking to a couple of guys that were like in their group. And we were talking to them and just about like what they do, their work, their day job, you know, like all the crap conversation you make with someone that you just meet. So I'm trying to like lie on this lilo, and I'm trying to like just block out everything because I put my sunglasses on, so he basically thinks I'm sleeping, and he's just talking and talking and talking. I didn't really have a problem with that because it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like I had to get up and do anything. Like I just had to respond back, but I just wanted to like enjoy the sun and do nothing. And it was a bit rude to like paddle away. And then my dad just got out of the pool and like left me with this guy. And I was like, oh, now I feel a bit uncomfortable. So we talked for like, I don't know, maybe 5-10 minutes. And then I went back into the hotel, went back into the room. Again, there was another football match that night. So we went into the same bar, watched the football. And this time they came and sat next to us. And this guy has parked his chair so that it was next to mine. And again, didn't really have an issue with this, apart from the fact that he kept trying to talk to me in the middle of the game. And it wasn't like annoying, but it was almost like a whispering type talking to me. And then my parents were there and it was really awkward. It's a bit weird, like a guy talking to you when your parents are there. It's just a little bit weird. And so I'm talking and I'm kind of trying to watch the game at the same time, and he's just talking. And then I got up, like wanted to go to the toilet. And as you can probably guess, when I got up and went to the toilet, I came out the toilet and he was just standing there. And I was like, oh, it's you again. And he, like I said, he wasn't horrible, but he was just starting to lurk around a little bit. And I was just like in the pool, he lurked around a bit, and outside the, you know, the toilet. Who stands outside the toilet? It wasn't like he was having a cigarette or on the phone. He was just standing there waiting for me. So then he probably thought that in front of my parents I wasn't going to talk to him properly. So I said hi. I can't remember. Like, we just had a random conversation about the game. And then I was just like, oh, I'm just going to get back to my family. So went back to my family, started talking to them again. And, you know, everything kind of carried on as normal. So there was no match the next day. But the next evening after that, we went for dinner. In the hotel restaurant, we went for dinner. And again, we were sat there as a family. And this time I kept noticing him staring. And, you know, you kind of notice when people stare because everyone else sort of looks up and then looks down. And then when they catch your your eye, they sort of realise that you've seen them and they just look away. But he just kept staring, and it was a little bit uncomfortable. So I sort of whispered over to my sister, oh, you know, that guy that was lurking around outside the toilet, he's now staring. And my sister's like, oh, when you finish your dinner, just go up to your room, like, because you're uncomfortable. And mum and dad are just going to sit in the bar, and then they're going to come and sit in the bar with us, and then you're just going to feel uncomfortable. So I went upstairs to the room. Literally 5 to 10 minutes later, there's a knock on my door. Like, at first I thought it was my sister, and then I thought, no, if it was my sister, she would have said something. She would have definitely have said something. The door knocked, and then nothing happened. And I was just like, oh my God, what if it's him? Like, what if it's like Mr. Creepy from downstairs that's like followed me up from dinner? So I got really scared, and like I did the most stupid thing that I could think of doing, but actually now I think about it, it wasn't a stupid thing to do. I was standing in the middle of the floor when he knocked on the door. So what I did was I just jumped onto the chair, because I thought, what if this weirdo looks under the door and he can see my feet like standing there? So I jumped onto the chair so he couldn't see my feet, and then he knocked on the door again, and then I like jumped onto the bed, and then I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have to get into the bathroom. So what I did was jump back onto the chair, and then I jumped into the bathroom, and then I just turned the shower on, and I left the door open so he could hear that somebody was in the shower, and I thought that might make him go away. So then I thought, oh, while I'm here, I might as well go for a shower and like get ready for bed. So I went into the bathroom, washed my face. When I came back, there was like this note under the door, and I was like, oh, there's a note under the door. So it wasn't obviously my sister. Then I thought maybe it's like room service telling me that I've got to pay something. So I had a look at this note under the door, and it basically was just from this guy. I can't remember what his name was now, but he looked like Billy Mitchell from EastEnders. And that's the best way that I can describe him, Billy Mitchell from EastEnders. And he put this note on the door. Oh, hi, I wanted to come and speak to you after dinner, but it looks like you're not in. I came to like talk to you. I can't remember what I said because it was like 4 years ago, but it was on the lines of, I wanted to talk to you alone without your family. Your sister told me that you weren't feeling very well and that you'd gone back up to the room. So I knew you were in the room. And unfortunately for me, like their door was right next door. Like, so every time we went in and out of our room, like they could hear us. And his room was next door, so he'd obviously heard me, like, and then thought, I'll just knock on her door because I know she's in her bedroom by herself. Like, and that just freaked me out even more. So I was like, this is so uncomfortable. And I didn't want to come out of my room, and that was a horrible thing. I did not want to come out of my room because I thought, now it's just uncomfortable because he blatantly knows that I've avoided him. And the next day, went down for breakfast, and I said to my sister, oh, I hope those guys aren't here again. And she's like, oh no, they've gone on like a 2-day trip, so you're not going to see them for 2 days. And in the middle, I felt really reserved near the pool and stuff, and I started feeling uncomfortable near the pool side because obviously I was in a bikini and I felt like I needed to cover up. When they came back after their 2 days, I was like, oh my God, they're back. Like, we've only got 1 more day or 2 more days to like deal with them, and then it's absolutely fine. And then on the last day, like, I basically tried to avoid them. Like, I felt really awful because they weren't horrible people, but this guy just kept lurking around. And then on the last day before he went, again, there was a knock on the door at like 11 o'clock in the morning. There was a knock on the door, and again, I didn't answer. This time, my sister was in the room with me. So she's like, it's not going to be mum and dad, because mum and dad always ring from their room before they come round, like, to just check that we're there. And so I knew it wasn't like my mum and dad. And then 30 seconds later, there was another note under the door, and I was like, oh my God, it's him from next door. And the note said this time, I'm really, really sad that I didn't get a chance to say goodbye as I'm leaving today, but when we get back to the UK, I'd really like to take you out for a drink, and, you know, I'd really like to see you again. And he'd put like his mobile number and his email address and his like address, like his home address, and I was like, why would you do that? Like, I might be some sort of psycho. Why would you do that? And then I was like totally freaked out, and I thought, well, that's good because I can hear suitcases moving around outside, so it means he's going home. Basically, after that, he went home, and I never saw him again. And obviously I never made contact. I don't know what I did with that bit of paper, but it wasn't like he ruined my holiday at all, because he wasn't a horrible person. He just made me feel really uncomfortable because he was doing the staring and the lurking around and trying to talk to me when no one was around. And I hadn't really given him any impression that I liked him. I hadn't really gone up to him to speak to him. I hadn't really paid him any attention. You know, I was just doing my thing on holiday with my family. And when you're Indian and you're on a holiday and you're with a family, you're not really there to talk to guys or anything like that. I don't remember if I was single or not at the time. Like, I really can't remember. But either way, I remember thinking I'm not really interested in someone, you know, 12 years older than me. And I just think maybe if he was a bit younger and I was a little bit more interested, it's just a bit weird. No, it's not weird, because I think, you know, when you like someone and you just kind of think, if I don't take this opportunity to tell this person that I like them, then I might regret it afterwards. And I do feel horrible making this video about him, but I am just doing it because I said that I would, and also because I know you guys like to listen to these stories about my life, because for some reason you find my awkward stories really entertaining. So if you want to see more videos like this and you just want to see normal stuff about my life when I talk about random stuff, then make sure you subscribe. The button is, I don't know, it depends what screen you're watching on, but I think the button's like in that corner over there somewhere. I'm completely pointing the wrong way, it's probably that side. I don't know, but there's a button somewhere around here where you can subscribe to my channel. I have got a meetup coming up, which I'm really excited about. So the meetup is going to be me, Kishan, Parley, Nisha and Harry. There's 5 of us and we're going to meet up at Shepherd's Bush, Westfield, outside Snog, which is the frozen yogurt place, at 3 p.m. So if you guys have any questions about the meetup, there is a post on Instagram that will be already up. So if you have any questions about how to get there, come meet us. Like, come have fun, come hang out. I'm planning on having my vlogging camera out, so you will all be in the vlog. Can't wait for hugs. I love hugs, so just come and give me a big fat hug because I just love hugs. So just also want to say a massive shout out to my cousin Dina, who lives in Australia. She watches my videos from Australia. She moved away like a couple of years ago. I really miss her, and she told me she watches my videos, so big shout out to Dina. And also a shout out to Joe Paolo from I'm in Radio. Just a massive shout out to Joe for letting me come on to the radio station, and I will be back to like co-host the show, and I will be playing my own tunes, and it will be an I'm in Radio Trisha 60 takeover. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment below any weirdish stories you have or any requests that you have, because I love reading requests. And I will see you guys in the next video.